It is really funny that out of everything that I have done, the final straw was a VTuber convention.
That's it. That's my intro.
I'm Amanda, you're watching Swell Entertainment, and the title is an exaggeration, the intro is an exaggeration. I'm fine. Basically, OffKai did not break me. Realistically, it happened to be where I was when I realized I was very burnt out and broken. The backdrop, if you will, for me acknowledging that I am a workaholic and probably clinically insane. According to their website, OffKai is the first VTuber-focused convention with the aim to bring creators big and small from all aspects of the VTubing world to one place. We are a group of friends, fans, and convention runners from many different fandoms working together to hold this event. This convention is a volunteer run and a true passion project.
But really quick, let me tell you about the sponsor for today's video, Squarespace. Did you know you can start a website for any reason? It doesn't have to be for a business. Sure, you can use it to extend whatever you're working on, like I have done with swellentertainment.com, but you can really make a website to do whatever you want. And that's where Squarespace comes in. Squarespace is a one-stop platform with everything you need to get started making a website today. They have tons of flexible website templates with Fluid Engine. You can customize all of them. You can start or revamp your online store. Or if you just want a gallery of all your work, you can totally do that as well. Get started on building the website of your dreams today with Squarespace. Go to squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/swellentertainment to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. And thank you again to Squarespace for sponsoring this video.
I need to note, I did not pay for my ticket for OffKai. They reached out to me actually last year. They actually gave me a press pass. Me and my friend Anarchy a press pass. My friend Anarchy, who you will see probably randomly throughout this video.
Hi, my name's Anarchy. You can see me throughout Swell's video, running around and being an absolute menace. I'm the annoying friend who keeps trying to get her to take a nap.
She is a VTuber, but I want to make the note that Anarchy and I did not pay for our tickets, but we paid for our hotel, flight, X, Y, and Z, okay? This was in Burlingame, California, which is San Francisco Bay Area, all right? So we did fly there. The entire month of May was just one weekend after the other. I was on a plane, I was doing an event. The day before this was the Creators for Palestine live stream, for those who don't know. I was helping keep that live stream running behind the scenes, like just a full day of just hurting the cats that are creators. Was very fried going into Friday, which was the first day of this event. I was burnt out the moment I stepped down, and Anarchy was like, I've never seen you like this. Because she's regularly telling me to take it easy, but this is where she was like, I physically need you to chill out. Like, this is concerning. So luckily for June, much less travel. OffKai, the tickets themselves are $99 for a 3-day. There, as far as I can tell, there is no single day tickets available. But then there was also double rainbow, I think, and then a whale ticket. Now, my understanding is whale, there was only like 10, if that. I didn't actually get full confirmation of what that is, but a whale ticket is literally like a lot of money, like multiple $1,000s is my understanding. And the whole point is that you are very much a whale. Like, a whale is like a big spender, essentially, in any form of online communities or whatever. It's like you are physically like almost an investor in OffKai in a sense. So like you get special treatment. I never saw one. I never met one. If you were a whale at OffKai and you would like to shoot me an email if you want to stay confidential, totally cool. But I didn't see anyone. And then the double rainbow, I don't have the prices for that. But that was like VIP, that one. Why was I invited to a VTuber convention? One, I will go to anything. I say that within reason because sometimes you guys give me an event that happened a week ago. I can't go to that. And also, I do have to think about, you know, how does this relate to social media to some degree? Sometimes something is so random and cool that I'm like, I want to go to this, okay? But if that's not the possibility, it usually has to have some connection to social media, or there hasn't been a lot of coverage on it on YouTube, etc., for me to go to it. But OffKai specifically, I went to a VTuber concert from Production Kawaii last year. They did invite me to that. And then I've done quite a few anime-related events, obviously. VTubers and anime are very interwoven, let's go with that. And then also, I did become a VTuber for a little bit with Oshi Live. They were in fact also there. So Oshi Live also is the company that does the tablets on the little remote control scooter thingies that go around at events. That's why I was there. But what is a VTuber? A VTuber is a virtual creator, basically. Some of them do music, some of them game, some of them are just digital 2D people. Some are 3D, some are 2D. There are PNG VTubers as well. Basically, it's how you present yourself online. Some people also have their real faces online, like Anarchy. And some, there is quite literally a full level of immersion where you will never see what they look like. Side note, not going to say who, but I did meet some more of your waifus this weekend. Just saying. It's funny though, because even as I said, that's something I haven't touched on in previous VTuber videos, is that for a lot of people, they don't care about who is behind these VTuber models. They don't care, who is, not actually a mouse girl or anything like that. Like they see the VTuber as that is who they are a fan of, who they are. They don't want that immersion broken. And that's a whole element that I really haven't spoken about. I've spoken about why someone might want to be a VTuber.
I'm a VTuber, kind of, not really. I mostly have this model so that I can stream without having to show my face because I look like an absolute gremlin when I game.
People just they're like, I want to be an anime person. Like, I don't want to be online as yourself. Or this is a version of themselves, so I want to make that note as well, because I really don't think I've talked about that. I've talked about it as safety, security, just, for a variety of reasons. Friday, I got there and immediately, I want to address that this happened because they were very nice about it, but I was mortified. I fully underestimated my reach at OffKai Expo. I say I'm not famous, okay? Because I'm not famous. Not really. In certain circles, I am known, but I am not famous. Certain artist circles and certain social media related circles, or even certain anime circles now I'm learning, I am very... people know who Swell Entertainment is, okay, to some degree. Or you have at least seen my videos, or someone who has seen my face or listened to my voice talk while they drew. And we underestimated how much that would happen here. It was fine. Everything was fine. But this, as an event, is in a Hyatt currently, which they outgrew the venue. You guys outgrew the venue. Hi, if you see this, you outgrew your venue. Anarchy was staying at a different hotel. Originally, I was gonna stay at the same hotel as Anarchy, but there was a room left or something, so I was able to get into the event hotel. Literally, this also made me realize that I can never do that again. Nothing happened. I want to make this abundantly clear, but there are certain things that with my anxiety, and also just as someone who regularly travels alone, I have to be aware of safety-wise. I just can't stay at venue hotels anymore. I don't think I can. I think I'm getting to that point. For my own peace of mind, I don't think I can anymore. Because simply checking in, trying to check in from the door to checking in, I got stopped 3 times. Some people are panicking because they're like, oh wait, that was me. It's okay. It's fine. Everything is fine. I promise. It's overwhelming, especially when my anxiety was already at an 11 from the rest of May. This was just a bad time of the month for me, frankly. And so I messaged Kira, okay, who is the person that we were speaking to from OffKai, and was like, hey, you mentioned that you could grab my badge for me, and originally I thought that was silly, but now I do think I will just have a panic attack if I'm stuck in the registration line and multiple people start talking to me and recognize me. I do think I will just start panicking. So can you help me with the badge? Worked out. Shout out Kira. Shout out the org team. You guys were great for letting me and Anarchy get our press badges up with the orgs hall. I genuinely was mortified. You guys kept saying it was cool. I feel still bad about that. I don't like doing that. When your skeleton cringes, I was doing that. I don't like it. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm very sorry, and I will continue to apologize because it genuinely filled me with so much dread and anxiety to do that. So the registration line was long. Someone told me they waited 45 minutes. I do think it would have been longer. Sometimes it looked like it wrapped around. It's, again, just another note that you have outgrown your venue, especially because how do I explain this nicely? It smelt really bad in there at times, and my sinuses are so swollen, I can barely smell anything. I want to make it clear, everyone was fine. Everyone was fine and dandy, okay? No one tried to follow me to my hotel room, which has happened before, so I appreciate that. You guys were fine, okay? It's just overwhelming when I'm already at an 11. So basically there were multiple sections of the hotel. The main section outside of registration was in the base lobby of the hotel. And then you go up the escalator, and the atrium itself, again, this is the security thing I mentioned. I could point out, who were the volunteers, who were the staff. There was staff who was basically wearing the kimono robe style robes. Yeah, and then there was also volunteers that had bright orange vests on as well. So I always appreciate that as a way to be able to pick people out of the crowd for safety reasons and things like that. But that also makes it very, very apparent when there is a limited number of you guys in certain sections, and also when I can't discernibly see security. The first day there were cops around that I did see, and then the last day there was a cop car parked outside, so I assume there was something going on in the hotel or something else. But security specific personnel I did not see very regularly. As far as I can tell, no bag checks ever, and then also because of the nature of the hotel as well, and because the hotel is open, you can't really exactly enforce a lot of things because of the fact that this is a functioning hotel. You do have regular guests staying here as well. They have to be able to get to the restaurant that is in the atrium where a good chunk of displays are set up for the whole of your event. I think moving to an actual venue hall or a more contained hotel with a contained event space will make security much more easier to enforce at the very least than, just free-for-all. At a certain point, I did think about taking my badge off and just walking throughout the event to see how far I could get without wearing a badge. We ended up deciding not to because I did keep getting stopped by various viewers and things like that. So ended up not doing that. But it was one of those things where it was like, I pretty much can go really anywhere aside from the expo hall and the panel hall and all of that. So I just think you guys outgrew this event space specifically.
We are currently at OffKai Expo. They were nice enough to invite me as press. Anarchy is a VTuber, but we wanted to show you guys the floor plan. You are a VTuber. We are currently inside Atrium Chan, our beloved.
So your VTuber might be an indie VTuber, or they might be signed to a studio or production company, etc. So like I said, my friend Raina's son, who performed at the VTuber concert I went to last year, who has been on my stream and things like that, she is signed with Production Kawaii. I believe Phase Connect is a big one. They also sponsored the entirety of the vendor hall, which is very cool. I always think that that's great when a sponsor is willing to cover those fees, especially with how event spaces for vendors and artists has gone up. The atrium, and then next to the atrium was the Maid Cafe. This was a separate ticketed event, which they did let us know. We did try on site to get tickets, but for some reason when I scanned it, it wouldn't allow me to. But it's fine because we ended up going to a keyboard meetup inside the Maid Cafe. So it worked out because there was no photos or videos inside the Maid Cafe outside from like the photo spots with the cutouts. So I was able to just get clips inside of the Maid Cafe at that time because they encouraged photos and videos of the keyboard meetup, which was cool. Next to it was the industry track. The industry track was basically just a little mini vendor hall specifically for industry related booths. So there was some people selling like big art prints. There was some companies that are associated with various VTuber companies as well. A couple startups, Oshi Live was in there. A few little spots to do meet and greets and things like that. How meet and greets work at VTuber conventions, by the way, you see this at a lot of conventions now, is they get a big screen, like a giant iPad, and you can meet with your VTuber, and your VTuber can see you and speak to you. They're not there, but you can get a photo with them and you can talk with them. This is also the same thing with like the iPads being moved around on the little scooter things. They usually can see you and talk to you to some capacity. Sometimes they can't. It just depends on the company or the connections at the time. Then there was panel 1 and panel 2 upstairs with the atrium as well. The first day we went to very few things. The way the panels work, there were instances where they had people physically as their VTubers there in person doing the panels, but for the most part it would be them on the screen, their 2D model or their 3D model doing a presentation, and there were webcams and mics set up so that they can see the room and can see reactions and can hear us reacting and all of that while they are giving their panel presentation. For the most part, I should also note, some VTubers are on site and you just don't know. That's kind of the nature of how VTubing works, is that you obviously don't know what your VTuber could potentially look like in most cases. Some do, some were carrying around the cutouts of their VTuber with themselves, but it's not like with TwitchCon where I see posters where it's like that no one knows I'm a VTuber or anything like that. That I didn't really see. It's mainly like you were either, this is my VTuber, Anarchy, who was straight up dressed like her VTuber model because it was based off of a photo of her, or you are just straight up like, yeah, I was eating a burrito in the atrium last night. If you saw me, that was me. And that's pretty much how I met up with the few of the VTubers that I did end up meeting. So for some instances, for the panelists, the VTubers were on site and they were just tuning in for their panel from their hotel room, or in some instances they were backstage doing a little setup in like a little like soundproofed room. So no one really knows where they are, but I really hope there was security there just in case anyone figured that out. Because in some instances, someone told me it's like, oh yeah, we did this thing here and we were just like right back there. One of the VTubers I met. And I was like, please tell me no one knew that, because if someone really wanted to, you know, like swoop the curtains. Here's what they look like, you know, like downstairs. Okay, so there was meet and greet 1, 2, and 3. Never went in there. There was the karaoke room, as it says on here. We did go to karaoke the first day. We went for a little bit. We were trying to figure out what the deal was there because for the most part, the audio levels for everyone, because it was like 2 different groups for the karaoke. I don't have the exact names and everything. Sorry, guys. But for the karaoke themselves, for the most part, the audio levels were all consistent for all of the VTubers. So we figured they may have been pre-recorded, the audios at least. But the tracking of the models, the setup of the models was all slightly different. So some of them, Anarchy's like, oh, you can see her tracking is anchored to her forehead or something like that. And so she would be like moving around, but her model would be like flopping back and forth with like her head. So she probably was making very animated, gesturing widely to try and get some movement, but it literally just looked like her 2D model was like flopping back and forth. Or some had their arm movements, some of them didn't. And you could just see like the jiggle physics on some of them and some of them didn't. But then they would all talk and there would be some of them stepping over each other. So I was like, okay, where exactly is happening? What's happening here basically? So the karaoke room, we never could get in there. It was a staff only room. We did try because we were like, what is this? We weren't sure if it was like a space where we could physically go and do karaoke. We don't know. But I think it's where they had people there to perform or record for the karaoke themselves. In some instances, they were pre-recording the audio, and then they would talk and be ready to talk, whether from their hotel rooms, backstage, that room, or back home. Some people did tune in from home, especially after I did the VTuber concert, where all of Production Kawaii does have 3D models, to watch performances that are just 2D models. Not that these 2D models aren't impressive. There was no bad models that I saw. I want to make that a point, but like it's just a different viewing experience where you're basically watching a YouTube video, but you're in a hall full of a bunch of people. Also, I should note, predominantly men. This is probably the only convention I've ever been to where there is never a line for the women's bathroom. A lot of the women that I met, it's not that they didn't have oshis or that they weren't fans of VTubers, but for the most part, they were small VTubers who were trying to, grow their own audiences and figure out how to become better VTubers and things like that. Or they were trying to meet up with their friends who were also VTubers, etc. Very male-heavy fan base in this, which is not a secret. Also on the first floor, outside of the hotel pool, was the gaming and arcade. We went the first day, did a lap. They had tabletop games as well as actual arcade games. On Saturday or Sunday, we went back in and the wind had gotten really bad. We were in the Bay Area. We were near the water. The wind was very bad and it was very scary in there. We did not stay there very long because of that, because it was a pop-up tent that was really well constructed, but it sounded scary, so we left. Vendor and artist hall as well. Go inside. The vendors and artists, it was pretty mixed. It was like, oh, vendors and artists. It wasn't like, oh, here's the artist alley, here's the vendor hall. All very much VTuber related merch. We did talk to quite a few of you guys who recognize me, which is very sweet. Talked about how, oh yeah, usually know I have more of a variety of like character stuff as well, but here it just doesn't sell that much, so it's very much like VTuber focused merch. So if you don't have an oshi, if you are not, super versed in VTubers, there's just not a ton. I wouldn't say there's nothing for you in the vendor or artist hall, but it is obviously you're at a fan convention more than anything. Friday, she was disappointed by the overall turnout of the day because we didn't really have a game plan. Friday was like, let's registration, let's do this. And I made it very clear. It's like, I'm going to crash super early. I'm fried. She was like, please go to sleep.
Tell her to take a break. No, they want
Watch
content.
old videos for a week so she can sleep. Please.
I slept for 10 hours last night, and I still don't think it was enough. I have an eye thing. I don't know what it is.
We didn't really go to any of the late night stuff on Friday, and then next day we decided, I was like, hey, you are the VTuber, I want you to get as much out of this as possible, because I'm someone, when I go to an event, especially when I'm not like actively trying to sit through one thing, or like none of my friends are presenting X, Y, and Z, I would flip-flop around through panels. I would be like, how many panels can I get in the next hour? If there's 4 things at once, how can I do that all? But obviously Anarchy wants to be a VTuber and all of that, so I was like, what do you want to go to today? So there was quite a few things we went to that day that were much more like how to be a VTuber and all of that. And I want to note this as well. All of these were packed. They were in panels 1 or 2 for the most part. There was one in panel 3 that we went to that was a Elgato setup one. And that one, I don't know. I still think it should have been in one of the other halls just for sound, but it was not full. But I don't know if anyone really understood like the Stream Deck setup of Elgato and all of that, which was a very cool thing to see. I should also note on here next to ConOps, there is security on the map. I want to make sure that's noted as well. But these panels were very well attended. A few that we went to were just like how to, you know, grow your audience, how to, you know, dedicate your life to your Oshi. We went to one of those on Sunday. On Saturday, we went to the Black Don't Crack panel. That one was cool because it was mainly a showcase of just various Black VTubers, which I thought was really cool. I always like things like that. So Saturday night, there was the night market. It started at 10 p.m. Also Saturday night, we went to the big live concert. It was going to be 3 hours. We left at 10. And it was once again, for the most part, 2D performances from VTubers doing their various songs and medleys, etc., which was cool. And it's cool to see how crazy that crowd got. But it just was like, okay, we're very close. It's very loud. It was very loud. And then also it's just like, I don't know, in this instance, it sounds mean because like I can also just watch a YouTube video, you know, especially because I believe in this instance, these particular performers were telecasting from home is my understanding. Again, cool show, interesting spectacle. We left around 10 because the night market started at 10. The night market is what it sounds like. It's a market that happens at night that is all 18 and up. So though there was someone selling full-on tits out adult books inside the vendor hall, there was also every single panel had that here. So there were people that just full-on adult. We had to get wristbands that said 18 and up. Did not stay in there very long. Just went in to get the experience for this video. That was really it. That being said, there were pieces of art being sold in there that were of VTubers that were in adult and compromising positions. To my understanding, a lot of VTubers have fan art guidelines on their sites to some degree, okay? Some people are okay with this, some people are not. I want to make it abundantly clear of myself. Hi, I'm a YouTuber, not a VTuber. If I find out that you are selling adult art of myself and selling it as Swell adult art, not only am I sending you a cease and desist, I might come break your hand. I don't know. We'll see. Just so you know, there is a VTuber named Ashton Martin, okay, that my audience started telling me about because Ashton has like a racing theme to a lot of their VTuber content. I was like, oh, this is like fun because I love racing. And my audience was like, oh my God, like they're gonna be at OffKai. I was like, oh, cool. That first day, Friday, when we were like dealing with like moving around and like getting the badges and all of that stuff, there was a live concert from Ashton that was a 3D model concert, which everyone kept bringing up. And like, it was like, why would you put that on the first day at 12:30? Like, cause they had a big banner for Ashton's and like there was flyers everywhere that was like disappointed with Miku Expo, come see a real hologram or whatever. And it's like, that's cool. I would have loved to see that. Why is it the first day that early in the day? That seems like at least a day 2 thing or at least a later in the evening thing, not an hour and a half after the event starts, you know? So that's just a little programming note more than anything. All right, let's talk about this to the best of my understanding. So there was an incident with a certain panel that was supposed to be live streamed or maybe not, okay? This was a Phase Connect situation. Now, to my knowledge, there was one particular VTuber, okay, that was supposed to be on the lineup this year or something, that, okay, I became made aware of the fact that apparently there's quite a lot of, like, right-leaning people that are VTubers. I get that in the audiences. I don't get that in the people themselves. Went out on Saturday. We had some internal miscommunications regarding the streaming of Phase Connect's panel, resulting in an unintended broadcast and poor stream experience. As always, we appreciate our friends at Phase. People were very annoyed and upset. Apparently, the live stream had been announced on the Phase Discord, and then that message was deleted, and then people were claiming that the mod for OffKai was in the comments, like, going back and forth with people. I was trying to understand what was going on. I was not in this panel. We went to lunch, okay, and came back and this is what was happening on Twitter. And I just saw people being like, this is because of California. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Okay, who said what? Let's find out. Oh, and then claiming that it was FaZe's decision not to broadcast it or something. VTuber who apparently, I don't know what was said, but apparently some things that were said that people were not comfortable with. I still have not been able to be given a specific phrase as to what was said aside from because of woke and because of California. So there are assumptions that I can make from that. But whatever it was, volunteers, since this is a volunteer-led org, complained and said that they weren't comfortable with this person paneling, but they could still come, is my understanding. I go back and forth about this because like they do have a right to be like, hey, for example, okay, VidCon does not like me currently. Fair, okay, I've been critical of them. So I will never be offered featured creator invited guest probably ever again. Fair, totally fine. Am I being canceled because of woke? No, but that's because I was critical about their safety situation. You know, maybe I won't be allowed back at OffKai because I've now been critical about their safety situation. It is within their right to do that in some capacity. It's my understanding that, you know, people are mainly upset because Face Connect is also sponsoring a lot. So then to remove some of their people or to limit some of their people, I get it. That's upsetting. I'm not agreeing one way or another. I'm just sharing the possibility of all of that. Will I go to OffKai again? I don't know. The reality is that I'm not a VTuber, and though I am friends with a few VTubers and all of that, this just isn't really the space for me, and that's okay. In the future, I would like to see maybe a more dedicated space to some degree, or maybe I don't know, was there a Discord or something where it's like, oh, if you are interested in a networking or anything with other VTubers, like, this is the VTuber networking spot or something like that. Because of the nature of VTubers, a lot of them are, you know, offline and all of that. I think to some degree, it's like kind of the same thing with VidCon where it's like just kind of being in the space, it's like osmosis to some degree. So if I had been open to that, maybe that would have happened more. I really hope you guys go to a bigger venue. I think you guys could do it. I think it'd be fine. If you had undersold this year, then it would be like a whole different thing, but you guys said you sold out. So, and it was very packed in there. I want to make that abundantly clear. That's really going to be it. Have you heard of OffKai? Have you been to OffKai? This is the third year they've done it for OffKai. Do you also think they should be in a bigger venue? Would you like to stay in San Francisco area? Would you like to see it moved somewhere else? Are you a VTuber or do you watch any VTubers? Who is your oshi? Am I your oshi? Let me know. Comment down below. Reminder, I stream on Twitch. Reminder that Swell Entertainment is now available on Spotify. Reminder to use code SWELL for 10% off on gamer subs. Shout out to my patron. Thank you so much for supporting me on Patreon. If you'd also explore me on Patreon, link is down below. Let me know on social media. That'll be all up here. And that's going to be the have all of the day. Goodbye.
You look so dramatic with the wind blowing your hair. I got it.
Thank you, Oz, Eva, Ayana, Abby, Angel, Goth, Glynn, Palace, Pink, Jasmine, Lauren, Amy, Aslan, Medic, Rosie, Victor, Andrew, Tenzin, Sam, May West, Michael, Ryan, Adira, Nathan, Zwink, Literal, Jeffrey, Randy, QWERTY, Nomad, Thomas, Tasha, Donnie, Winter, Kenny, Robert, Cameron, Elliott.